big thank you to everyone for joining our community of culture geeks, as we like to call them. And I just want to give a little overview about Advantage Design Group and the Advantage HR Engage platform, and then I'll turn it over to Karen. So Advantage Design Group creates engaging digital experiences that help institutions recruit, welcome, and educate with purpose and impact. And their Advantage HR Engage is a new employee engagement experience that attracts, welcomes, and is proven to retain top talent from day one. It efficiently streamlines new hire orientation to save HR teams time and resources with seamless integration into existing onboarding processes. Karen, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you again for partnering with us on the webinar.
Thank you, Zach. Really appreciate that warm welcome from CultureCon. Really love your shirt too, Culture Geeks. So just so excited to be here today. And with that, let's get started. Thank you also to everyone joining us today as we discuss how a new hire online orientation experience with Advantage HR Engage can transform your onboarding process, make new hires feel confident and welcome, and make a huge impact on your retention. My name is Karen, and I'm joined by Sam and Faith, and we are with Advantage Design Group. And today we're excited to welcome Vicky Bournival, Director of Organizational Development at St. Anne's Community in Rochester, New York. Welcome, Vicky. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Today is a peer learning discussion. It's highlighted by the opportunity for you to get a preview of St. Anne's Community online HR new hire orientation from that new employee's point of view. We'll start by discussing Vicky's experience building her new HR online orientation, and then Sam will take us through a walkthrough of the platform, and we'll finish up with some time for question and answer session with all of you. But before we get to that, we always want to know that these webinars are not just for you to sit back and quietly watch. We definitely want you to take part and engage. So when you have a question, please use the Q&A tool instead of the chat, when we'll keep track of your questions and save them to answer live at the end of the session, time permitting. If you need to know where that Q&A is, it's under the More button at the bottom of your screen. If you prefer to use the chat, that's okay. We're going to monitor both. We'll also have 2 polls throughout this session for you to share about your orientation experience. That gives us a little bit of insight about you all. And at the end of the session, keep an eye out for a survey that's going to pop up. It'll give you an opportunity to get any outstanding questions answered. You can request the recording directly from them there. And we'll also select one lucky person who completes the post-webinar survey to win a $50 gift card. With that said, let's get started. Vicky, again, thank you so much. To kick us off, can you tell us a little bit about St. Anne's Community?
Sure. So again, thank you so much for having me. My name is Vicky Bournival. I am the Director of Organizational Development here at St. Anne's Community. We are a senior care organization in Rochester, New York. We operate 24/7 across 4 different campuses. We have about give or take 1,100 employees at any given time. And again, those employees, because we are a full continuum of care, we do have employees across 3 different shifts. Again, 24/7 operation. So in my role, I oversee various HR operations, organizational cultures under my umbrella, which I absolutely love. So thank you to CultureCon for having me come on today and speak. And then also the onboarding process. So from talent acquisition all the way through onboarding orientation, and then our hires time here at St. Anne's. So I'm definitely excited to share how Advantage HR Engage has been able to support our progress here with implementing a virtual orientation.
Wow, and it sounds like you have your work cut out for you managing so much across St. Anne's campuses and employees. What would you say were the biggest challenges you were facing with your orientation process before Advantage HR Engage?
Yeah. So originally, we did have an in-person orientation. I think that particularly, I'm sure a lot of organizations did, but particularly healthcare, it was very important. It's something that just was always, this is what our industry was accustomed to, right? But particularly after COVID, there were a lot of barriers with having an in-person orientation. It sort of became no longer realistic with us having our different campuses across all of these shifts, at the time having to have social distancing. And so we had to quickly adapt to somehow figuring out how we can shift to present and deliver this information that was mandatory. We had to, but in a different way. Some of the other barriers we were experiencing was that we were seeing night shift employees were coming in. They were struggling with having these daytime sessions. It was only offered orientation, through Monday through Friday. So our evening and night shift, our weekend shift, those folks really struggled to first make arrangements to come in on the day shift. A lot of the times they were tired. Um, it was also confusing for having orientation on a single campus. So folks that were at our other sites, they were a little bit confused. They were feeling disconnected. Orientation started to become more of a hurdle instead of that engaging welcome that we were striving to do. So um we had to make a change. And then again, just again, COVID was it was a real thing. And there were staffing limitations, and that was leading to inconsistency and inefficiency. And so we knew we needed to make a change.
That's a very difficult problem, and one I think that a lot of organizations trying to conduct that traditional in-person onboarding can probably relate to. Have you ever
Yeah.
tried to shift to virtual onboarding in the past?
Yes. So as I was sharing, we needed to during COVID. So our first take at this was we decided that we needed to do a virtual, some type of virtual experience. So that attempt looked like us using PowerPoints and utilizing our HRIS. So um honestly, kudos to us because it was hard to take all of that information and quickly execute that out. However, we quickly learned that there were a lot of barriers in that process. So our HRIS was um, becoming difficult to access for folks who did not have a PC. So we learned that it was not a mobile friendly device. And so this learning component within our HRIS needed to be executed on a computer. And so when we look at it from an equity standpoint, it wasn't equitable for those who didn't have a laptop or a computer at home. And so then folks were trying to either come in, which we had to schedule, or, maybe go to the library. But again, if folks didn't have transportation that was reliable or they needed childcare, there were a lot of other pieces that needed to come into play in order for them to do that. And our orientation was lengthy. So even when we condensed it to roll it out in this format, it was still a good 4 or 5 hours. So we were seeing that many new hires, they were having a lot of constraints around being able to conduct this. Another piece of this was the consistent quality. It just wasn't there. It was becoming unengaging. Folks that were doing voiceovers on their PowerPoint presentations, sometimes they didn't realize there were papers shuffling in the background or there was background noise. And so that could be distracting for somebody new who's really trying to, be engaged and learn the information. It was just hard. So when we discovered Advantage, it was a no-brainer. We really did immediately see such a difference in quality. And that was something that I very much wanted.
Wow, it sounds like that first attempt was pretty stressful, and I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of people can relate to that. After it didn't go the way that you'd hoped, how did you go about getting, and once you found Advantage HR Engage, how did you go about getting leadership on board to try again?
Yeah, so we actually were introduced at a conference to the Advantage Design Organization, and what we did was we learned a little bit more. We did some demos with Engage, with Advantage HR Engage, and from there, it was like I said, it was an easy win for me. So what we did is we met with our leadership team and we explained that while an in-person orientation has been, long been the industry norm, that we did need to make a change. So one of the biggest questions that our leadership, who have been, we are lucky to have such long tenured um, employees and especially our leadership was, they questioned whether or not the virtual component could be effective. And obviously that's something that it was a main focus of a main priority of me as well. So what I really liked about Advantage is that you guys were able to help me demonstrate how the HR Engage strengthens that connection. It doesn't remove it. And so how that looks like, let me demonstrate like what that would look like for me. So in our current platform, what would happen is when our folks went through and they completed their pre-hire orientation, once they completed that and they did all of the other requirements, they would flip from that pre-hire status to an actual employee. They were an active employee in our database. However, they lost all of that information that they had just went through and learned. And when it's so much information, sometimes you want to go back and, refresh or understand. And so that wasn't there any longer for them. That's a difference with Advantage HR Engage. Our new hires will always have access to that information. So the handbook is right there at their fingertips. Certain policies that they wanted to question or refresh on, those are right there. All of that content that we go through in our HR orientation is always there accessible. And so that is something that I really, really loved because that supports long-term success. So, once I was able to go through and show our leadership team the platform and all of the different, very unique interactive features that the Engage platform offers us, it really, really, it wasn't really something I had to sell. It really, truly was a no-brainer.
That's wonderful. And I know that, efficacy and ease for new hire orientation are definitely important selling points to get buy-in. How do you think about that return on investment with HR Engage? Is that something that you also demonstrated or talked through with leadership?
For sure. So that's always something that's super important. And, we always have to look at that ROI. And so for us, when we onboard or when we lose an employee, it costs our organization about $13,000 at the end of the day. And when I looked at what our turnover was for last year, it was about 350 employees. So when you do that math, that equates to $4.5 million on turnover and then onboarding somebody new. So what I did was thought, my gosh, like, I don't want to be overzealous thinking that I, can have this huge miraculous reduction. However, if I did see a decrease, a 1% decrease in turnover, that's a $45,000 savings. That in itself pays for the platform itself. And so I think that in itself is a risk willing to take. And I don't even see it as a risk. I really do see it as a win. Again, that improved connection and preparedness, that helps to amplify that ROI, that increased retention because folks are onboarding and feeling so much more well prepared and already connected to the organization. All of that adds to that ROI. And again, it pays for itself.
Wow, with numbers like that, they are very, very hard to ignore.
Yes.
So that's great. Thank you for sharing that important and vital, impactful
Yeah.
information. Um, at this time, we're going to pause for a poll. Let's take our first poll question.
Great.
And Faith, I don't know if do you mind reading that question? Oh, there it is. I got it. Employee orientation, biggest challenges. We want to hear from you guys. What are your biggest challenges in incorporating a digital orientation experience or improving your existing one? We appreciate everybody's participation. This kind of allows us to get a gauge of the audience and hear some insight from you all. So I'm going to give you probably another maybe 10 seconds or so to finish this out. We've got some good engagement here. I see the blue lines going back and forth. All right. And we can go ahead and end this poll. Thank you all for your participation. And it looks like we've almost got a close tie with strategy. how it fits into the total onboarding system, and time, scheduling, prioritizing special project personnel, and resources. Two very important things. Thank you all again for your participation. And with that, we'll keep moving. So $45,000 for just a 1% decrease in turnover is no joke. I have to imagine that when you bring out numbers like that, it makes it a little easier to get that buy-in that you need. And now that you've gotten started with Advantage HR Engage, what types of training are you planning to deliver?
Yeah, so we deliver through our virtual orientation, our core HR orientation. So that is going to be completely and solely executed through Advantage HR Engage. And so what does that look like? It looks like, our CEO, having that interactive greeting to our new hires so they can see who he is and hear a little bit directly from him. So everybody will see that. We go through some of our core crucial teams who will be connecting with our employees. So our HR team, we go through a little bit of our organization structure. First and foremost, we also cover our mission, vision, values, who we are, what is our culture, what we are expecting from our new hires coming in. We do a really important, we all have very important jobs here. We are caring for the lives of others. And so it is crucial that our new hires know from day one what that expectation is and how they can be successful. And so again, various policies, our safety, compliance. We also do a dementia training and a trauma-informed care training. So all of that's being able to be executed through Advantage HR, through Advantage HR Engage. So part of what we discussed and making sure that we are still being very effective with our onboarding is that we have adopted this hybrid plan. So while all of our non-clinical roles are onboarding 100% online, what we have done was we've still have a connection of our clinical roles who will complete this online, the same orientation that all of our employees get. But our clinical roles are going to come in afterwards, and they're going to complete their in-person training. So why do we do that? We do that because there are some systems that for privacy reasons and just the technicality behind it, they really need to come in and learn what's unique to our organization. And we don't want them to come in blindly up to, their respective departments and not be equipped with that. So for our clinical roles, we do have them come in, and sometimes we adapt. If we have folks that can't, necessarily come in during the day, we will make other arrangements. But we've been able to adapt and be flexible and nimble with what our workforce is needing. And so they do come in, and this is a complement to the HR Engage platform. There's, like I said, still able to come in and get those tangible, hands-on skills training that really our clinical roles do still need, but it's not a week-long event like it had been in the past. It's, they are able to do their HR orientation at their, leisure, so to speak. We do put deadlines around it just to keep things on track and fresh and, be able to keep movement here. But then they also come in for a couple days where they're able to get acclimated to their space, to the technology, and then transition to their respective departments.
Wow, that's impressive. And I love how you mentioned that you are using different onboarding formats for different staff based on their needs. That's super important. So that flexibility is key. And now that you've begun building your platform, what can you tell me about the experience was like for you getting that started?
Yeah, it has been amazing. Absolutely amazing. So we started off with an initial kickoff meeting, which was a team who came in to explain what the process was going to look like. We were able to select, which I think is on the screen, 4 different layouts. The one that, sort of fit with our brand, what felt right to us. We were able to do all of the branding that is to our organization. Advantage really took care of all of the customization. They were so great with, staying on track and reaching out and working with our IT team, because I don't know a lot of the intricacies behind the scenes of how to get, this website up and running. And I didn't need to. And that was something that originally, I'm going to be very transparent, I was a bit worried about. But however, It was really great. So we ended up choosing layout one. It was customized to our branding, and we have been rolling ever since.
That's great, and I think the hardest part is just getting started, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And honestly, I can't wait for everyone to kind of see how your platform came to life using this first example. But once you selected that template, what came next? How did
Yeah.
you?
So, like I said, I initially was worried about not having content design expertise, but luckily I didn't have to. The Advantage team was really very wonderful. They just were very organized, very encouraging. Um, I quickly discovered, thankfully, I did not need to be that tech savvy. You guys took care of that for me, so that was great. So, like I had said, Advantage worked directly with my IT team for much of the implementation. Um, the platform development is actually so very simple and easy. And it also helps that that implementation team, the Advantage team, checks in regularly with me. And so I know exactly what to provide. They even came down to taking, having a strategy meeting where I was able to say, hey, like this is my content. I can't visually understand like how to translate this over to such an interactive way. And they're just so accustomed and fluent with it that it really has been great being able to brainstorm and implement together with them. Like I have never felt that there was something that I wasn't able to do or feeling overwhelmed because it's amazing how accessible the implementation team is.
Wow, I imagine everyone here is just as excited to get that sneak peek at the new platform. But before I hand those reins over to Sam, let's get one more quick poll question in. And this one is about your current experience with employee orientation tools. And we'll give about 5, 7 seconds for folks to jump in and participate in this poll. Very common answers I'm seeing here with using a learning management system. Or this is your first time exploring, which is kind of exciting. And the other
So
choices were video conference apps and using is completing the onboarding is the checklist. Let's
So
go
Karen,
ahead.
if I could just
Yeah,
add to, because I see it with
absolutely.
the folks already using an LMS, um, it this really is great. And so I didn't have to worry about like, does it integrate, does it not? It's independent, which is what's so great because then it always stays with the employee. And so that was one of my worries was like, how am I going to integrate this? And, how is it going to work? And if anybody has any questions, I would definitely encourage to reach out to Advantage and have that conversation because it was not a barrier. And if folks are thinking it, I would like to encourage them to just have the conversation so they can easily see how much of a compliment it is actually.
Absolutely. Thank you for that input and insight. Really appreciate that. All right, let's stop. We'll stop this poll. It does look like it was a tie for first time exploring the learning management system and then video conference apps for live and virtual events. So a little bit of a mixture, which is great.
Mhm.
And with that, Sam, are you ready to do a walkthrough and show everybody Vicky's glorious and beautiful online new hire employee orientation?
Yes, hey Karen. Yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen for you guys. So thank you so much, and let's dive in. And so everybody, you're kind of seeing the, she, as Vicky shared, she kind of picked from the four very different template choices. Again, after that, we try to make life easy for Vicky and our clients. I believe there was like 4 items we needed, like the logo and the company colors and some photography. And then we were able to kind of transfer the template kind of how it comes for her with all her, as you're seeing now, so the after. So as you see right at the gate, it does welcome me by name. So again, it's going to say, hi, hey Sam. And it's very, very user-friendly. So we want something that's very easy, intuitive to go through. You have your major topics. These topics can be called whatever you want, but we recommend these as standard. But you have something else in mind, no problem. We can rename them as you see fit. It's your piece. And then really from here, we're going to just dive in and meet the host.
Hello and welcome. Everyone on the team is excited to meet you and help you get started on your journey with us. We take onboarding and training seriously because we want you to feel confident and prepared from day one in your new role. This orientation is designed to answer your key questions and provides all the essential information you need about the company. If something catches your eye and you'd like to dive deeper, just click the I button. We'll track those topics and organize them on a personalized page for you, so you can explore further at your convenience. You can move through the orientation at your own pace. And don't worry, we'll save your progress if you need to take a break. If you have any questions along the way, your manager is always available and happy to help. We're all here to support you and make sure you succeed.
And just so you guys know, with all videos, we do by default, we turn timers on so they can't just hope next. So again, if you guys have a 5-minute video that exists, like about safety, again, they will not be able to hit next until it's done playing. Now, by default, all timers do unlock forever after they watched it the first time. And again, what you're seeing here is this very user-friendly navigation. I can go back, I can go forward. Next up, we do have a placeholder for Vicky. She is working on getting a video added from her video partner. So that will be dropped in later. But for now, she's gone ahead and typed in some of her core values that you can see below. A nice statement down below as well. As you're going through the flow, there is a placeholder here for her president. That's coming soon. We're normally recommending that you drop in a video greeting from your president, CEO, whoever you pick from leadership. Also right here, you'll notice she's begun to typing in her key leadership people, and down below how it's going to transform. She is working on the headshots, but we do offer photography coming to your place as well as video production. But once she has those headshots, she's going to replace these stock photos with her actual people. And again, there's no cap. We have 6 as an example here, but what we recommend as a best practice, try to make a little bit of information of who's who and what they do there, but also maybe a fun fact. So you'll notice that this one says he's also the Office Fantasy Football Champion for 2 years in a row. So really trying to humanize people and help everybody, not be so scary, I guess, to that newcomer. You can see where, again, Vicky has done a great job already typing in her mission, her vision, some of the values, as well as the experience and strategic pillars. Again, with even the text screens, if you would like, we can turn timers on, so you'd have to be on here for at least maybe 10 or 20 seconds. You tell us what you prefer, and we'll turn that on for any mandatory screens. Also, she's done a great job of adding in some of her history. I love, Vicky, that you've done with these great photos. That's really reassuring that, see, y'all have been around for 150 years. And it really helps me, day one, better understand where y'all have come from and how you're making this great progress over the years. So really well done there. Really from here, a screen here for our positive impact. And I'm kind of moving fast today, guys, just to kind of help you get a high level today. We won't go through every single screen, but toward the end of each section, we do also have a video wrap up. So again, what you're seeing is the lady here on the right. She is one of the hosts that this comes with. So again, if you kind of like her, she's included, as well as another host we're going to meet. If for any reason you want to replace these hosts with your actual people, that's no problem. Again, we can come to you and film everybody over a day that you pick to kind of replace the talents with your actual people. So it's kind of gives you a couple of options depending on how much do you want to invest in this, right? So here we go. Let's see how she wraps this up.
As you've seen, we're deeply aligned with our core values and fully committed to your success and growth, both as an individual and as a valued team member. Our focus is on building and nurturing strong relationships with our clients, our community, and within the organization itself. We're confident that your unique skills and experiences will make a lasting impact here. Together, we'll continue to grow, achieve great things, and shape the future of this company. We're excited to see all that you'll accomplish.
Okay, guys, so we're going to jump us ahead. As you see, now we can go through these other topics. Normally, they're going to be locked down, but since I've already been through most of it, other than I haven't quite finished up next steps, I can now jump around and revisit any topic I care to revisit on demand. So kind of also think of this not just orientation, but It is a digital handbook online anytime they want to refer to it 24/7. A couple of ways that you can refer back to things. There is a table of contents as well as an easy search. But for time's sake, we're going to just look at pay and benefits next and kind of give you an idea of a typical section.
In this section, we'll cover the essentials of your pay and benefits. You'll learn about how and when you'll be paid, along with key benefits like health coverage, retirement plans, and paid time off. We'll also touch on additional perks, such as wellness programs and professional development opportunities. By the end, you'll have a clear understanding of your compensation and benefits and how to make the most of them. Let's get started.
And as you guys can see, it's right out of the gate. I know what I'm in for. This section is about 13 screens. It's exactly 13 screens. So, and it is a mixture of a copy that they need to read and videos. And of course, any videos that you have in addition that exist already, we can add them for you at no charge to any of these course sections. As you're flowing, there's again pre-made content. So a lot of this, Vicky will now go in and edit to personalize it for St. Anne's. So, but the benefit here is some of these screens may be okay as is. You know, Vicky likes this photo, she can keep it. She's one step ahead. But if she has something better, it's easy to swap it out and personalize it based on her photography. Again, another kind of a generic photo. You know, people have a good time celebrating. We typed already in for Vicky the typical, most popular, recognized, company days off. But if she has a couple of extra days she wants to bullet in, that's very, very easy. There are different ways, of course, to display content as well. So we're trying to make these a little bit more interactive, but by design, not overwhelm people. So this is a high-level introduction to try to create awareness of all the many things people need to kind of be aware of. Now, with these accordions, you can also turn a timer on if they are required and not optional, meaning if I hit next, it will ask me, you must open each one of the three that you're seeing. So, and then they'll be allowed to proceed. We have a kind of placeholder if you do offer tuition reimbursement. If it's something you don't have, you just delete this screen. Another one for the EAP program. Other benefits like the employee referral bonus. Again, we put in $1,000. If you offer $100 or $500, you know, it's just editing. It's like a Word document, super easy and quick. Here we have a game. So just so you guys know, we do have two types of games already included in here that you can leverage. So they're kind of pre-made for you. But then our goal is if you want to edit it as you see fit or add some new words, you can. So here's an example with retirement. I find a word, it tells me, it reinforces something from one of the previous screens. After 90 days, I will become eligible. So again, a great way to kind of help them understand. A little information on payroll. Everybody wants to know, I guess, when they get paid, right? So again, when you roll over it, again, it's kind of explaining that you get paid on the 15th and the last day of the month. So games are optional. They can skip them unless you want it to be mandatory. So again, kind of up to you. There's a lot of flexibility on what things are optional versus mandatory. We also have quizzes that can kind of break it up and reinforce key points. So there are already in every section usually 2 to 3 pre-made quizzes that you can use if they work for you. If they don't work, any of them you can just delete. But here's an example.
What are some of the great benefits you can expect from our company? Is it A, career growth opportunities, B, company events and celebrations, C, comprehensive benefits packages, or D, all of the above?
Okay, I'm going to get one wrong just because people sometimes wonder what happens if I get it wrong, because we don't want to beat people up. We're just trying to engage them, see if they're learning some of the key points that were on the previous screens. And if they get it wrong, it's done in a very positive way. So let's get this one wrong.
While that's one benefit we offer, the correct answer is actually D, all of the above.
All right.
Your happiness is important to us.
So you're kind of the idea, and then again, he does it in a very positive way. And right after that, we'll get one right.
Now let's talk about benefits. When are employees eligible to enroll in health insurance benefits? Is it A, immediately upon hire, B, after 30 days of employment, C, after the first paycheck, or D, after 90 days of employment?
Okay, now one of the previous screens told me it was 30 days, so let's see if they learned it or not. And again, behind the scenes, you guys are going to know how everybody's doing on these quizzes, who's getting them right, who's getting them wrong. You can also run aggregate reports, maybe that shows you 90%, I got it correct, and so you'll know the 10% that missed it if you want to, and you can drill down and see them.
That's right. After 30 days of employment, you'll be able to enroll in our health insurance plans.
All right, and there you go. So again, they're having to engage, unlike a Zoom, right? They are actually driving through this experience. At the end, there is a wrap-up closing, but for time's sake, I'm going to jump us ahead and take us over to next steps. And again, I want y'all to kind of know something that's also included in the solution. If a employee starts this, but they want to go to lunch and come back an hour later, it is going to pick them up exactly where they left off. So again, that's, and I'm just demonstrating that here because that's where I was right before this webinar. I had gone through all the sections and I got toward the end. And so when I click next steps, it says, welcome back. And it picks me up where I was. So again, immediately you can see, oh yeah, I had just taken the final test. So there is a test. You can see, fortunately, I got all 12 multiple choice questions correct. It told me 100%. If I had missed a couple, it would tell me which ones I missed. So hopefully I learned. And you have a record as well. Now here's where I was. I did not do the survey yet. So the survey is included. You'll notice a little subtle detail. I cannot hit next. So if I try to, it's telling me, hold on, you must take the survey. So again, you can make the surveys mandatory like it is now, or if you want to make it optional, that's your call. But what we have done here is to try to make it easy for Vicky is there are suggested survey questions. There's 6 of them. We don't want to 5. We don't want to overwhelm them. She can rename these, of course, if she wants, as she sees fit. It's her piece. It could be longer if she wants to add a few more questions. That's very easy to do. But I love number 4 because, if they do have some questions, you're making it really easy for them to stick their hand up, type that question in, and then Vicky gets basically notification and can get back to that person. And again, all these are archived for you in a secure backend. So you have a permanent record of who asked what on what date. And, again, for those that maybe are a little more shy, in-person orientation, we still recommend that if you can do it. But you know how that is sometimes. There are some people that are shy and they're not going to stick their hand up and ask their question. So this hopefully will make it a little bit easier for them to do so. And then you can see down below my number 5. We like this one as well to give Vicky that early indicator on the very first day. Or you could even serve this up as soon as they accept your offer. But if I check on easy, again, she will know that. So it's very easy for her to now reach out to me before I don't show up on the next day, right? If they want to share a little bit more under other, again, they can type in whatever they want to share, and then you know before you even reach out to them, right? So this should give her a lot more quicker day one intel rather than guessing as people are going through this. So people again can ask what they want to ask, and she can better allocate her time with those that maybe hopefully 90% are saying they're great. But focus on those 10% that might be at risk. That would definitely help her with that turnover to pay for this. In terms of the last area I was going to show you guys, really was this more of the smartphone view, because again, we did talk about how the LMSs don't usually play well on the phone, as well as the PowerPoints as much. I think that was one of the things she was running into. So y'all can see how it reforms up perfectly if I were on my phone. If I wanted to also to help reduce that information overload, there is a table of contents, and also you'll notice up here at the top it says 4, so that tells me there are 4 things kind of waiting for me, and then I can go where that is. So in this case there is a checklist. Again, you can use our checklist. It is included at no charge. Of course, you can also add us to any existing checklist if that's better for you. But you can see when I was in here I did the first 2 items. They're checked off, and there are still 4 left for me to do. And you can, of course, drive them anywhere else. So if there's some more odds and ends that maybe you may need to turn in that first week, again, we're trying to make it easy and help them be organized and not have to ask you quite as much. We also have a way to post your most asked questions. So again, you can post them all here and easily add as many as you want. We have one of our clients has 51 on here. And what's kind of nice about them, they do resort based on popularity. So whatever question is clicked on most will move to the top of the list automatically. Whatever is clicked on least will move to the bottom. So maybe with that client with 51, if they see, I'm going to downsize it, they could easily eliminate the 11 that are clicked on least. They can also type in whatever they want, hit ask. So again, it makes it really easy for them to ask their questions and for Vicky to have a log of who asked what and when. Using the table of contents is the final thing I want you guys to kind of see. Again, if I want to refer back to, let's just say, in the tools kind of covers different things that they'll be using. Policies and safety, to give me an example of another screen, just I want you to know it's in here. And we'll look at it on our phone. But again, we put in kind of some prohibited behaviors that would get them fired. So we really wanted to slow them down. So you can see when I went through, I did acknowledge that. The arrow down here would not let me hit next until I did so. So again, it gives you that extra for risk management purposes. If someone can't ever does something wrong, you gotta let them go. They can't really claim you do your best on day one, to let them know about that very important topic. And if I proceeded from here on my phone, you guys see how nice and easy this looks. So again, that is kind of our high level for today. There is a lot more in here. And again, but I want to keep us on track and stop sharing and turn it back over to Karen and Vicky.
Great. Thank you so much, Sam, for that demo. That was really informative. I just love how we were able to bring St. Anne's community to life. And thank you to Vicky for sharing your experience with us and everybody in attendance. I think it's super important for people to hear from people in their firsthand PO view. So do you have, Vicky, any final thoughts for organizations who might be considering online orientation through Advantage HR Engage, or anything else that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I would say go for it. As simple as that, go for it. Advantage HR Engage really helped us create a consistent and engaging onboarding experience. The accessibility really helped us, improve and reach those folks who we needed to without sacrificing our culture. Again, that's something that's so important to me and to the organization. And so that was something we were not willing to, to decrease on. Like, we needed something to help, to help support that. And this platform really does. It supports our employees beyond day one. Like, this truly is an evergreen resource, and that's something that we didn't have before. And so, it really is truly impactful. And again, can be impactful for resource constrained organizations. And so again, like, this really has just been a true game changer to supplement our onboarding program. Again, as Sam had highlighted, I really like the analytics that we can get from it. We are a compliance driven organization. Like, there are things we need. And so to have those attestations, to have those quizzes, all of that is stored to make sure that we are in compliance and that our employees are attesting to understanding that knowledge and information. And if they need more, they can get it. They can get it by being able to, ask questions and reach out to certain content leaders. And so this really has just been a really great experience. And I really can't wait. We are so close to, wrapping up and, officially rolling this out to our team members. And I really am so excited.
Well, that's wonderful, and thank you again. And thank you to everyone who joined us today. Special thanks and kudos to CultureCon. Let's go ahead and take some questions. And I know if you still have some, go ahead and type them in either the webinar chat function or the Q&A feature. Let's see, Sam, I'm going to bring you back into the conversation. I see one from Gemma Morris here. How have you made accommodations for employees who are neurodiverse or have additional learning needs that would find a digital experience difficult?
Yes. Is that for you, Vicky? Yeah, this is ADA compliant, just so you guys know. So if they're visually impaired, they actually, this will read all copy to them if they have their screen reader as they go through this. All videos are closed captioned. They can also, there's a ability to turn off things like the rotating photos if you want to. So there's a lot of extra touches in there for ADA compliance. our history, we have, just so you guys know, we've worked with about 400 different institutions, a lot of them in the higher ed world, so they were very, very uh, focused
Aware.
on that
Yeah.
ADA compliance.
I will also add to that for us specifically, if there was anybody who was having any kind of, you know, learning difficulty or whatnot, we always welcome them in personally where we will sit, one of our HR partners will sit, and we have different forms. Like anything that we had online, we would also be able to print and walk through if, it was just too overstimulating or whatever that looked like. We also internally make accommodations for folks who need it. And so we have yet to we've yet to encounter an experience that we weren't able to navigate through. And at the end of the day, no matter if it's virtually or if they come in person and we do it, side by side, they're still leaving with that information and receiving the information that they need to be successful.
Great, and that was, I'm not seeing too many. Oh, here's one from Susan Teague. How do learners or new hires know that option is available to them?
All right, so let's back up to when the offer is actually made. And we go through, and we have, again, this is part of our onboarding process. And so, we establish those relationships with folks right from the start. And so as we go through that, we say, is there anything that's preventing you from being able to complete this online? If so, do you prefer to come in and do you want to work independently so we sort of go through and we walk through those options. So we make sure that from the start that our new hires know we are here truly for them. We are here to make sure that they are equipped for success, and we offer a slew of different resources and ways for them to feel comfortable and prepared. So that's how we do it. You're welcome.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
also, y'all, this can be added to any existing onboarding checklist. So let's just say you guys already have a checklist they're looking at. Once they get hired, it has 5 items on it. This could become item number 6. Take
Right.
orientation.
Yes, and Sam, do you want to speak directly to that about the accessibility within the platform itself and how there's that toggle button, right, for that feature?
Yes, absolutely. And if anybody wants to go a little deeper on that, we can absolutely do a one-on-one and show you through a Zoom. So we absolutely have those people on our staff to kind of walk you through. But yeah, that is a great question. We take that very serious because that is required. I said we work with over 400 schools already that have this deployed. So, but we can go deeper on that. And everything we do guarantee it's ADA compliant. So again, if you have any issues, let us know. We will fix it.
Great, thank you. I just want to make sure we tied both of those in, what could be done on the organization side and what the platform tool also includes. So thanks again for answering that, Sam, and thank you, Gemma and Susan, for your questions. And thanks to everybody who has attended. Those were a lot of good questions. I'm hoping for more insight from y'all who will fill out the survey. And as a reminder, it will pop up at the end of this webinar, and it'll give you an opportunity to ask, to get outstanding questions answered. You can also request the recording right there, and we will also put you in the running for that $50 gift card just for filling that out for us. And thanks again to Vicky and St. Anne's Community. Thank you to Zach with CultureCon. Thank you to Sam. And thank you all for joining us today. I'm going to hand it back off to Zach, and I wish everybody a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Karen.
Yep. Thanks, Karen, Sam, Vicky. Really appreciate you taking us through that demo and sharing kind of the real world experience of orientation. So that's very helpful for our audience. Thanks to everyone, all the culture geeks, for joining us. And we hope to see you again soon at a CultureCon event in person or digitally here on our webinar series. So thank you, everyone. Have a great week.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.